willkommen, South by Southwest, Tag 4 heute. Wir haben heute einen ganz besonderen Gast dabei, Ben Royce. Und zwar ist er
Creative Effectiveness Lead
bei Google, also ein sehr, sehr hoher Gast heute bei uns. Deshalb werden wir das Ganze heute auch auf Englisch machen. So, Ben, just to start, how would you describe South by Southwest to your mom in a few words?
It's kind of like the combination of the best of nerdy with the best party people all at the same time getting together at one place. So
That's a pretty good description. Fits it pretty good. All right. So, me as a creative, what I was wondering about, how can data and artificial intelligence help before the creative process? So how can we enhance the briefing or the start of the creative process with it?
So there's so much data that's available out on the web that can give so much insight to the creative process. Maybe that's a function of strategy, but there's so much data we can process that with artificial intelligence makes it a lot simpler to understand. And I think it's the kind of intelligence that a creative would love to have before they go into the brainstorm or to the creative development phase.
Absolutely. And how could the data help us in the creative process, or maybe with the execution? So, and maybe afterwards. So, how can we tweak the things?
So this is what I spend most of my time on, is finding things and reducing the time to insight so that we can make adjustments to either creative or to targeting to make that campaign effective midway or right in the beginning, what we call pre-testing, and then developing a list of things that worked and didn't work after the fact so that we can kind of codify that and put that in one place so that people know what works and what doesn't.
So you just said targeting, and from media agency perspective, I'd like to know, where do you see the greatest benefit for us as a media agency in terms of use of artificial intelligence?
Yeah, the machine learning and AI are really, really good at right now helping with attribution and understanding measurement after a campaign. We're starting to get better now and moving up that process of understanding which audience segments are going to be best matched to a creative execution, so we can find new audiences that you may not have expected, right? So there's a marginal benefit on top of the current process, and we're relatively new at this, but we're getting better and better at finding new audiences that are relatively surprising. So I think it's great for expanding a campaign.
And where do you see is the USP or the positioning of media agencies in terms of artificial intelligence?
I mean, media agencies have access to more data than most organizations do. So there's no reason, if you can get all the data in one place, you could be much more surgical, much more targeted, specific, and expand effectively if you can get that data in one place. So organizations that have lots of clients under one roof, or have a large breadth of clients that are across multiple industries, you could find things that maybe smaller organizations wouldn't be able to because you have access to that data.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I'd like to ask like a hands-on example from you. So, how can data? So, what insights could you give? For example, if we want to create an online film, right? So, what would be the insights that you could give us as a creative agency? Like tweak it here, do that.
There's lots and lots of data on the web that's open, that's available for free, that can be mined. So using things like natural language processing to understand reviews on e-commerce sites, or looking at YouTube comments. You can do that and be able to read hundreds of thousands, if not millions of comments that no human could do, and then find aggregate insights and say, there's a lot of people feeling about a product or a brand or a category, and provide that to an agency saying, maybe how people respond to the apparel group. These are the trends that are up, these are the trends that are down, here's how they feel about that. And that data is all available. It's just a question of processing it.
Could you go even that far to tell me like a lighter shot works better than a darker shot, or an angle works better than a certain angle, or faces work better than objects?
We've seen this in creative effectiveness. We spend most of our time on YouTube, and what we're doing now is trying to figure out what retains audiences the best. And now, thanks to AI, we can actually see that's a dark shot, that's a light shot, and say, on average, in this category, it retains users better, or they skip more, things like that. We can actually get to that level of data now and say, in mobile, dark shots don't work as well as bright shots because of ambient light, and we can look at those numbers and have a pretty good reason why.
Okay.
So I think a lot of clients are watching this as well, and my question would be, what would you recommend to the clients how to integrate artificial intelligence into the planning process with creative and media agencies to make the best out of it?
I mean, I'd love to see an environment where data scientists can work hand in hand with creative in like a triangle of data science, creativity, and strategy. And they should be working maybe it's cross agency, maybe it's with client. I mean, a lot of clients have their own intelligence that needs to be baked into that process. So I'd love to see that kind of triangle working together seamlessly, because they're different types of skills and different types of intelligence. And they all deserve respect. I think working together nicely is probably the perfect scenario.
Okay.
And last question, how do you see the future of artificial intelligence and data for our industries and for our clients?
I mean, one of the great things about artificial intelligence is its ability to process incredible amounts of data and bring it down to a simple level. The future, hopefully in the advertising and marketing space, is where that intelligence is applied after a campaign every time. It's put into a world where everyone can share it and learn it in like a feedback loop, where post-campaign analysis gets handed to the new campaign, so they know what has worked and what hasn't, and they're using the power of artificial intelligence to do that at massive scale. That's the future, I think, and that world is not that far away.
All right, then I tricked you. There's one more question. So, do you believe artificial intelligence can be creative and take over my job?
I don't think so. Artificial intelligence is artificial, and it learns from what we provide it. So if you're truly creative and you come up with something that's net new or something that's sort of never been seen before, there's no way we can do that, because we can't teach it to do that because it's never been done.
Right. So I'm safe.
You're safe. You're totally safe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Goodbye from Austin.
Goodbye.